Hey guys, welcome to Olivia's Blooms. Today I'm going to be making some basil tea. It's a recipe I saw on Jessica Soward's website. She has a YouTube channel called Roots and Refuge, and I have been dying to try this. If some of you saw my harvesting video, then you'll see I grabbed these from the garden today. I think mine's gonna be more of like a basil mint tea. So I've never tried it before, but I'm really excited. And I hope you enjoy this super flattering angle of my face while I go through what we're gonna be making today. Here are the ingredients. It is so simple, I cannot wait to try it. This is a bunch of basil that I picked today. So Jessica recommends using a sweet basil. This is Genovese, which is one of the kinds she recommends. That's what I'm using because that's what I have in my garden. And then here I have got a mix of a bunch of different mints and I guess technically a sage. So I've got orange mint, regular sweet mint, lemon balm, and then this delicious smelling pineapple sage. It smells like pineapples, and I think it'll be really yummy. I'm also gonna be using some honey and lemon. And the last ingredient is just some boiling water. So it's that simple. For my herbs, the way I wash them is I'll usually pick off all the leaves. I don't know that you need to do that with the basil for the basil tea. It might be fine to leave the stems on, but I'm gonna use whatever I don't use here in some pesto and some vinaigrette. So I just went ahead and took all the leaves off. But I like to wash it the same way that I would wash lettuce or any kind of leaf that you're gonna eat. I like to just pour the leaves in this. This is a salad spinner. I just pour it in this big bowl. And then I fill the bowl up with water and I use my hand to sort of swish the leaves all around. Then I'll dump them in here to drain. I might do that a couple times just to make sure I get all the little dirt or anything else, little bugs that are on it off, and then just let it sit here and drain. Although for the purposes of basil tea, I don't think we need to let it drain because it's going in water anyway. So I'm gonna start with the herbs here, and I'm going to, there we go. I'm just gonna pack in all of the mints and everything first and really pack them down in there. Jessica recommends using 6 to 7 cups of water. I'm gonna be making the basil tea in this beautiful glass pitcher I have, so I just filled this up with water and that's the amount I boiled. So we'll see, it might come out a little stronger. I'm not sure exactly how many cups that holds. So let's see, pack that in there. I've got about half a cup of those and I'll fill up the rest with basil to make 2 cups. There we go. And I can hear my water is already boiling. So what I'm gonna do is you just wanna let these steep in that boiling water for 20 to 30 minutes, she recommends. You can do it longer or shorter, depending on how strong you like the flavor. All right, so I'm gonna turn off the oven here. Just gonna throw these herbs in.
I almost forgot.
Are you ready to go?
No, I gotta go get my bathing suit.
There's my family getting ready for their weekend activities. All right, I'm gonna dump that in and maybe take a spoon and just mix it around a little bit. Or some tongs. I turned off the heat. I guess I'll put the lid back on just so the water doesn't evaporate as it cools. I'm gonna take this off the heat. I'm gonna set my timer for, we'll do 30 minutes. So while that basil and the mints are steeping, I'm just gonna go ahead and get the pitcher ready. I'm gonna put the lemon juice and the honey right in here. She doesn't give amounts, so I'm gonna measure really scientifically. That looks good. I'd say that's about 3 tablespoons of honey. We'll start with that and see how it goes. You can always add more honey. And what we're gonna do is, once the herbs and the basil are done steeping, we're gonna pour that warm water into this honey lemon mixture so that it all dissolves and tastes delicious, and then put it in the fridge. So I'm gonna start with 1 lemon and see how that tastes. I can always add more after if I find that that's not enough. I think it'll at least need one lemon. All right, so next on our list of things we're gonna make today is another one of Jessica Soward's from Roots and Refuges recipes. This is her roasted tomato salsa. Here are the tomatoes that I have been harvesting. These big boys are black Krim. This is the first year I've grown these. I'm so excited. I'm mostly gonna be using these. Here I have some of the Berries Crazy Cherry that I've just been snacking on. There aren't a whole lot left. I'm probably picking them a little bit earlier than I should be. It was hard for me to tell, and the lighting in here isn't great. But they taste so good that I've been harvesting them anyway. I might throw in this one Pink Tiger. Here are my Romas. This is the last variety of tomato I'm growing right now. Still kind of ripening, but I could use these in the salsa, but I'm gonna save these because what I wanna do with these is make some tomato puree to have for like sauces and other recipes. So I'm probably just gonna be using the black Krim today. Also, this is the first onion that I harvested from my garden. You can see it still has dirt and everything on it. These are yellow of Parma onions. I think this one was ready to harvest. I'm not 100% sure, but I figured I would grab it since the stem had fallen over, and we'll use it in the recipe today and see how it tastes. And then lemon, I have one jalapeno here, not here, here. And I'm only gonna use one. Jessica doesn't really give ingredient amounts. My family likes things a little spicy, not too spicy, so I'll just throw one in, probably take out most of the seeds, and then honey. Now, if you want to make this salsa recipe, I highly recommend just go to Jessica's website and, get her recipe. She has great instructions on how to do it. But I thought you guys might just want to see me making something with, something you can do with the stuff we harvested today. I always find that satisfying when I see other people doing that. Oh, one ingredient that I forgot to grab this morning is cilantro. So I gotta go run out and grab that. Now, I really struggle with growing cilantro here in Charlottesville. I tried sowing it. You can see my sad 3 cilantro plants. I tried sowing it back here, like in some shade, to see if it would do better. It almost always goes to seed. I just need to find the right conditions for it. So, not gonna be a ton of beautiful cilantro, but we'll grab a few leaves for some flavor. I love cilantro flavor. So let's go get that. Okay. I'm back. So here's my sad little cilantro bundle. There's probably barely left on any of the plants out there. That might be the only cilantro I get this summer, but that's all right. And it's not a ton. It'll be sort of cilantro essence in the salsa. Some maybe distant cilantro memories, but hey, I'll take it. It smells wonderful too. All right, so what we're gonna do next is take these big tomatoes and cut them in half and take out their cores, and I'm gonna put them on this oiled baking sheet that I have ready. Jessica says she likes to use ceramic bakeware, which would be great. I just don't have that, so I made sure to make this nice and coated in oil so that none of my stuff sticks. And that's where I'll be placing all of the things I'll be roasting. Oh, I also need some garlic. Let's go get that. Okay, welcome to my extremely messy basement storage area where I also do my seed starting. I'm not gonna complain. I love having this space. I feel really fortunate. It's where I hang stuff to dry. You can see these are the potatoes that I've harvested so far this year. And this is the garlic that I've harvested. I'll be grabbing some of that. I left these garlic cloves here. These were kind of damaged and ones I felt like I needed to use first. So I'm gonna grab some of these to roast along with the rest of my salsa ingredients. Just a quick peek over here. These were my nicest garlic cloves. I'm gonna be saving these to replant in the fall as my seed garlic. All right, let's get back to making the salsa. Okay, hopefully you all can see this well, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut these in half. Let me take out this stem. I'm gonna cut these tomatoes in half. And then I'm gonna cut out just this white part here because I don't wanna eat that, it's not gonna be pleasant. But then I'm gonna pretty much leave the rest of this intact and just throw it on the baking sheet. Like that. And I'm gonna do that with all these tomatoes. I'm also gonna be throwing in, because you can use different kinds of tomatoes, I'm gonna throw these guys in. I'm not gonna cut these in half, only because the size difference, the amount of time they're gonna be roasting. If I cut these guys in half, they might be way too caramelized. So I'm gonna try them like this, and I'll let you know how it goes. All right, next is the onion. I've cleaned it and cut it up, and look at how beautiful that little onion is. And for this, you just have to cut it in half. Again, throw it on the baking sheet. This recipe is so simple. And now I'm gonna cut in half and seed this jalapeno. You can probably notice through my techniques that yes, I am a professional chef. This is the expert way to de-seed a jalapeno. Just keep doing this very close to your open, outstretched fingers. And lastly, I'm going to peel and have a few garlic cloves. This is some Polish soft neck garlic that I grew. I also grew some hard neck garlic. The Polish soft neck seemed to be in, more of the cloves were in kind of poor condition, so that's why I'm gonna be using most of that first. It'll be interesting to try the different flavors. I have not grown a lot of hard neck or tried a lot of hard neck garlic before, so that'll be fun to see the difference. I'm smashing it because I find that smashing it tends to make it a little easier to peel. Not always, but sometimes. Or if you're just having a bad day, sometimes it's just fun to smash things. Okay, and here's our tray of things that we are gonna roast that we just cut up. I ended up using about 3 garlic cloves, probably too much, but I love garlic. I'm making a really small batch. You could probably add a lot more to this tray and make a much larger batch of fresh salsa. Oh, so I'm gonna throw these in the oven at 350 for 45 minutes, and it sounds like our herbs are done steeping, the basil and the mint, so we can finish off our basil tea. Okay, so our herbs are done steeping. I have here our honey and lemon mixture. I think I'm probably gonna end up adding more lemon to this, but I'm gonna throw a strainer over. Let me grab those herbs. But yeah, this will be good. Hold it with my chest. Already that smells amazing. I'm gonna give it a good mix. And then see what we need to add as far as sweetener and lemon juice. Now because of the light color, I'm wondering if I should have steeped it a little bit longer. I still got the herbs, so it's not too late. But I am making this for some kids and they might not love a super strong herbal flavor. We'll see. All right, let's give this a taste. Pretty good. I am going to add some more lemon for sure. I'm not getting a super strong basil flavor, so I might even let this steep for just a little bit longer. And add maybe the tiniest bit more honey, but I don't want it too sweet, and I think the sweetness is about close to being right. So I added another whole lemon. I'm gonna add another, I don't know, let's call it a tablespoon of honey. About that much. I'm gonna throw these herbs right back in. Delicious. I can definitely get the mint flavor. I'm not getting a ton of the basil, but let's see if steeping it some more will help. Gorgeous. I mean, I just love the way that looks. It's one of the reasons I got this glass container is just to be able to see the leaves floating around. To me, it's beautiful. Or if you have some fresh raspberries or strawberries and to see those in the water, I think it's just gorgeous. So I'm gonna put the strainer side forward so that when you pour it out, none of those big chunky herbs are coming with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this come to room temperature and then I'll stick it in the fridge. I totally thought of that the first time. I didn't just put it directly hot into the fridge. Okay, so now that the tea is coming to room temperature and all of the vegetables are in the oven caramelizing for the salsa, I'm gonna just get the last few ingredients for the salsa ready. So I have taken the cilantro leaves off the stem, all 5 leaves, and put them in this bowl. We'll be using that later once the vegetables have caramelized. And then I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze, the last couple ingredients are lemon juice and honey. I'm gonna be putting the salsa in this bowl. I think it'll be big enough. It's not a huge batch, like I said. So I'm gonna just squeeze the lemon juice into here and put a little bit of honey in. I don't want too much sweetness. Jessica says it really brings out the caramelized notes, so I'll just put a tiny bit in to start. Again, I'm just gonna throw in 1 lemon. We'll start with that. Actually, I'm gonna start with half a lemon because again, this is a small batch. And I don't want the lemon juice or the lemon flavor to kind of overpower the tomato flavor. So we'll do half a lemon, a little squeeze of honey, and I'll just let that sit while the vegetables roast. All right, next on my list of what I'm gonna be cooking today with all this garden goodness is this David Leibovitz recipe, and I'll link it below as well as all the other recipes I'm making, and it is for basil vinaigrette, and it is so delicious. I use it on salads throughout the week, but you could throw it on anything, just fresh tomatoes. I think he throws it on fresh beans. It's so yummy. I don't know how long it keeps because it never lasts longer than a week in my house. And the ingredients we need for this are here, basil. This is the rest of the basil I picked this morning with you guys. Salt, Dijon mustard. Now, his recipe calls for shallots. I am actually going to be using, these are onion scapes, and scapes are the flower stalk and bloom that comes up from alliums. So you probably heard of garlic scapes. They come up from garlic. These are actually onion scapes. I had a bunch of garlic scapes earlier in the year, and you want to pull those off usually because you get those in hard neck garlic, not soft neck garlic typically. But you want to pull them off because, again, you don't want the plant sending energy into making flowers. You want it sending energy into making a nice, delicious bulb for you. So I tried these. I've been trying to find ways to use these. I roasted them. They were delicious. I haven't used these to make pesto. I've used garlic scapes because I love garlic flavor in pesto, and that was delicious. But I used these in place of shallots the last time I made this vinaigrette, and it was so good. It's just got like a mild oniony flavor, sort of between, it's not a strong onion flavor, but it's more like a green onion flavor with a tiny hint of garlic. So I'll probably use one small shallot. I'll probably use about 3 of these and chop those up in the dressing. So let's go ahead and make this delicious dressing. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take, the recipe calls for 2 cups of basil, so I'm gonna, it says loosely packed. So with pesto, I'll usually pack that basil in there. I want some strong basil flavor. For the vinaigrette, you don't need to as much. So, oh, and I forgot to mention, you also need a tablespoon of water and some olive oil, so we'll grab that here in a sec. But I'm gonna take, that's about 2 cups, and I'm just gonna throw it right in this blender. And I'm gonna throw in, it says 3/4 of a tablespoon of salt. I don't have a 3/4 tablespoon measure, so I just take a teaspoon, sorry, not a tablespoon of salt, that would be a lot of salt. 3/4 of a teaspoon. I have 1 teaspoon. I'm just gonna guesstimate. That's about 3/4, just a little bit of a gap there. 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. I love Dijon mustard. I go very generous on the, I mean, that's way more than a teaspoon, but I love it. So that's about how much I put in. Throw that in the blender. Delicious. I'm gonna chop up these garlic scapes and throw them in. You don't need to chop them up super small, but because these are a little bit harder, I'm gonna just give the blender a little bit of help and kind of chop it up into these small pieces. Calls for a tablespoon of water, so I'm just gonna put some water in here. Measure out a tablespoon. A tablespoon of water here. And then we need our olive oil. Let me go grab that. Okay, and the final ingredient is just gonna be 1/2 cup of extra virgin olive oil. Okay. I'm going to pour this all in the blender. And let's go blend it up. This is gonna be so delicious. I mean, could that be easier? You guys, I forgot one very important ingredient, which is 1.5 tablespoons of red or white wine vinegar. You really want that acidity. So I am gonna throw that in, and then we are gonna blend this up. Okay, I blended it all up. I'm just gonna give it a quick taste here. Let me get a clean spoon. Oh, that is so good. Oh my gosh, the garlic's scapes, or the onion scapes are perfect amount of onion flavor. I'm gonna pour it in this cute little salad dressing container I have, and look at that gorgeous green color. Oh my goodness. So it doesn't make a ton. You could easily make a double batch of this, especially if you've got tons of basil like I do, and I might do that next weekend. But again, this is delicious on pretty much anything you would use any dressing on. So I'm just gonna put this in the fridge, and now on to the next thing. All right, it has been 45 minutes, so I'm gonna check and see how caramelized these vegetables are. Let's take a peek. I'm not seeing a lot of browning. Not as much as I would have liked. I'm gonna give them a few more minutes. Check back on them in about 5 minutes. Okay, so I gave the vegetables an extra 5 minutes. Now let's take a peek at them. Woo, hot in there. They certainly smell like they're a little bit caramelized. So I think I'm gonna call that good. You can see some brown bits on the tomatoes there. So I'm gonna take these out, let them cool just slightly before we start processing them in the food processor. Okay, so with my tongs, I put all of the vegetables in the food processor. If you're doing a big batch of this, Jessica recommends, processing it in the food processor in batches. I think because I'm doing such a small amount that I can do it all in one go. So let's go ahead and process this. I'm gonna put a lid on. You gotta be careful when you're processing hot things because that can cause a lot of pressure. So I'm just gonna start by pulsing it. And you can pulse it to whatever consistency you like. I don't like mine too chunky, so I'll give it one more. Let me see where it's at right now. Ooh, that looks so good. Let me get a spoon. Actually, I'll use these tongs. Let me see how that consistency is. I think that looks really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour this in the bowl where I had squeezed the lemon juice and a little bit of honey. And then we will add salt and see how it tastes. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pour this in. Oh, that looks so good. Okay guys, I just threw my little bunch of cilantro on the top here and mixed it in. If you're gonna be using a lot of cilantro, you can put some of the salsa back in the food processor and pulse the cilantro in it just to get a little more incorporated. But because I only had my tiny little handful, I just threw it on the top there. Okay, so I've mixed this all up with the lemon juice and a little bit of honey. Let's taste it. So good. Ooh, it's a little spicy, but I like it. It's to me, it's the perfect amount of spice. It does definitely need some salt. I'm gonna start with half a teaspoon. If you wanna make this, you're gonna just have to probably add salt to taste, depending on how salty you like your salsa, but also, how big of a batch you're making. So let's start with half a teaspoon. I'm gonna mix that in. I try not to go too heavy on the salt, especially when you've got such flavorful ingredients. You don't tend to need it as much. But this is the first time I'm making salsa, so I'm gonna add just a little bit more, maybe like another 1/4 of a teaspoon. It's almost enough, but it needs about another 1/4. Just a bit more. All right, and I just happen to have some chips here to try it. Look at that consistency, you guys. It looks so good. Let me give you a close up. See that? That chip was so stale. The only thing that saved it was delicious salsa. So I'm gonna enjoy some of this for lunch. I hope you guys had fun cooking with me today. I had fun cooking with you, and I'll see you in the next video. You probably want to wait until that cools to room temperature before you put it in the fridge, now that I think about it. Okay, all right, so now while the salsa ingredients are caramelizing in the onion, in the oven, they're not caramelizing in the onion. That's pretty liquidy. I wonder if I should have, oh,